Good morning to you, Prince. I am happy. Bonjour, bonjour. See, I didn't know that one of your numbers had gone to somebody else because I tried to call you for me not to be here at 11, but, you know, because I wanted to be here earlier. But they're doing some work on our road, so I had to wait for the caterpillar to clear.
I can imagine. I can imagine. We should be joined by Vivian Wallace sometime later.
Great.
And that's the basis of Exile One. Our thanks of you. We had a wonderful time on Friday.
Oh, yes. Well, it's my birthday month, as you know. One of my birthday months.
Okay.
And I am really happy. I'm hearing so much cadence.
Yes.
And I'm hearing there's a young lady who approached me after the function on Friday. She wants me to mentor her.
Yes.
And, well, I know all my guai I have had with that. But I don't mind extending. And I really hope that she's interested and serious. And there are certain things we have to learn. Like people need to learn, okay, that lady is somebody who has done 40 years of this. She's Mama Creole and what have you. So there are some things she knows, you know. And I am the type who would listen to her too. I'd like to hear what she wants and that kind of thing. Because for me, that is not just a Creole thing, but a mama thing.
Yes,
So if I have to be Mama Creole,
you know.
Yeah, I have to listen, I have to weigh, I have to tell you what I think on the left side, on the right side, and then you select. So it will be like that.
It was really heartening to see you actually, you know, hanging out and cooling out with some young artists, young feminine artists.
Ladies, yes.
Ladies.
Yes.
Delma, and I saw you encouraging them. Also, Royet.
Yes, Royet too, yes. They have voices.
Yes.
And they have things to sing about, you know. And I like the classy type. I like things that bring people up, not down.
Of course. And
there was Lady S who was there too.
Lady S. Yes. As a matter of fact, she will be on this weekend, this Friday.
Oh, fantastic.
She'll be part. Janet will also be.
Oh,
part
good. Well, I must come.
But of course, because we want it to be different, and Alias Process gives us a different ambiance.
Yes.
Where you can have the panel discussions, get the education, but in between we have a little entertainment, a bar, so you can relax.
And I hope you have milk, because that's what I drink.
Well, I'll have
water and juice.
I will have a whole case of milk for you. Okay.
Yes.
Tell us how it all started, Lakwadam. We want to document the entire story. I know you have told it,
yes,
you know, so many times, but we want to start from the beginning. Hopefully, Vivian Wallace will join us sometime in between.
Okay, well, I'll talk quickly.
Yes.
Well, I think I was born singing. I think that first cry that I gave to Mommy and Daddy was a note that they should have taken down, but we didn't have WhatsApp and all of that at that time. And they do remember that I used to make noises as if I used to sing a long time. At age 4, I went to Lushikadushi, which is like the preschool in Curacao, where I was born, by the way. And there I was a little king. I remember being on stage, well, it was a space, on stage bringing a gift for Jesus. So I was a little king and I had to sing a little song. So I did, and that was my debut, but I didn't know. And then I continued after school in Buena Vista Primary School in Curacao. I came to St. Luke's School in Point Michel. And there's no accident why the Lord sent me there. That's a fantastic school. And well, my mother was a Point Michel girl, and Daddy followed her. So, you know, that's where I started primary school. And I remember there, I used to be in the school concerts. They must have been raising funds. I didn't know and I didn't care, but I used to sing. They used to pull me out to sing solos, and I used to sing solos and always liked singing. Every Friday afternoon we had singing. So that continued. And then I went to the Youth Literary Club, which I was about 17 when we organized that club for secondary school students, and our emphasis was on writing and communicating properly in the English language and maybe other languages, but the English one was at the front. And then Mr. Lionel Simon, the father of Justin Simon and Sharon Pascal and that other group, came to our group, because it was a youth group and we used to have youth officers. He was our, I think, social welfare officer, but he came and he suggested that we write songs for competition, because that was the time when we used to have patrol song competitions, even before we had what we have now, like independent song competitions. So I didn't understand, so I wrote an English song. I was secretary of the group, I think. And the song went...
How old were you then?
I must have been 17.
17.
Yes. A titanche.
A titanche. Belle titanche.
Thank you. But I used to write before, like when my grandmother had a birthday, I would write a little poem and things. And she used to tell me, you didn't write that. And I would say, yes, my fan, that came from my head. But I guess it spoke in a certain way to her. And when she said you didn't write that, it was a compliment. And Daddy used to sing. And Daddy used to present songs for us. His favorite was Sparrow's Calypso, that we were not to sing. We were forbidden from singing it.
But he could sing it for you.
Yes. And then Mario Lanza was his other favorite, and he used to belong to a band. We never saw him perform at the band, but he used to go home, and when he came back, Mommy used to be happy because he had an envelope. So I understood early that that singing had something to do with money. But then I still didn't know that the Lord was preparing me for something. So I did that first song, and the song was I'll Say It Loud. That's the name of that song. And it goes, I'll say it loud, I love you. Oh, Dominica, you have made me black, and you have taught me to be proud. First song.
Pum, pum.
It wasn't cadence, it wasn't Creole, and what have you. When he came back, he told us, no, it was a patois song competition. So I changed it. Hi, moi kele, I Dominique moi aime, oh, c'est où qui fait moi. C'est où qui fait moi belle, c'est où qui fait moi belle, oui chef, yeah.
That's your first ever
competition song.
Yes.
And it was in Creole, and I think it almost started like a cadence, because I didn't know it was cadence, but it was something that spoke in Creole what I wanted to say in English in the first song. And the people liked it, and when I said ay, they were with me. And even the way was there already, and the support and the love and all of that was there. And then I continued. I went into the competition with Nubian Ewe, and I also went into the competition with I Dominique.
What position you came out the first year?
The first year was third.
Third.
Yes.
Can you recall who beat you that the first year?
You know, I don't.
You don't, okay.
But
but then from there you got the motivation to continue.
And I didn't worry. Yes, and I did my best, you know, and I sang for the group.
Yeah.
They were shy and what have you, so I sang for the group, and I had my family, I had the group, I had Point Michel, I had ladies.
Support, yeah.
Yes, I had support, and you know, and unfortunately for artists, that applause is so much more than the money they give you.
I know.
Because when you have a gift like that, it's not for yourself. There is no joy in your keeping it for yourself. You have to share it. That's why I tell younger artists, you can write a song for yourself, but you have to write a song for people too. Absolutely. You cannot write a song that people cannot sing. You know, they have to be able to take a note or two. That's why when I sing My Soul, Alwyn Bully wrote, I hear a choir singing it with me every time, WADIX, every time. So I know that is a song that has a blessing on it, an anointing on it, and I know it's just through me it's going. It's not even mine. Although people will say that's Ophelia's song, and when other people sing it in their churches, they come and report to me, you give that lady permission to sing your song. And
as a Magnificat,
yes, the Magnificat, and you know, and I really thank Alwyn Bully for that song. And it is a big thing in Dominica. I know in St. Lucia too. But in Martin and Guadeloupe is Gloria that they liked. Anyway, I'm rushing ahead of myself. I need to tell you, Mark Marie saw me perform. He was my friend, only my friend, just my friend. He was also Gordon Henderson's friend. And when he saw me perform, I think that is what won me the marriage, you know.
The performance.
The performance. And he said, oh, I'm going to have a drink on that. and then when we were students, fellow students in Convent High School, he used to come there to do French. And I used to go to SMA to do mathematics. And sometimes he'd have to carry my books. I'm talking sixth form, because those schools are both church schools, and they used to exchange staff, resources, and students used to go up and down and get qualified. So, and I remember him carrying my books. He used to make sure he waited and carry my books, and you know, that was a gentleman. And I used to like to hear him read in French.
Okay.
And I like voices. I like nice voices, and he has one, you know, and that's an intelligent man, and that was always more important for me than anything else. Some people go for pretty face or nice color and what have you, or how fellas can dress, and so it had to be intelligence for me. You have to be able to bring that to me. Maybe because I had that at home, you know, and everybody could speak and what have you, so I would want that. And I liked sounds because Daddy brought sounds at home. So, and he spoke to God. Well, he married me first, and then he spoke to Gordon and told Gordon, there's a lady who's singing that I want to do a recording for. And at that time, it was 45 and LP. And Gordon says, but I can do that. And remember, he and Mac are good friends. They used to box and all of that at school.
At SMM.
Yes, and hit each other and go down and get up again and start again. They're friends. So Gordon decided yes, and against the will of some people who were around him. But he decided it's Mac Marie's wife and he wants to do it. And I don't think he had even known me, you know, even what I look like. And
by that time he had instituted Soul Tone Orchestra.
It was just the beginning, yes, of Soul Tone Orchestra and also the Soul Tone label, which is his. And he decided that I would have been one of the first artists. So I went up there and I met Soul Tone. They were also Exile One. And they looked so big, you know. And then you have the stardom following them. And I was, if you like, more than anything, even now, a little girl. And I'm looking at those fellas and I'm watching one playing keyboards and one with a guitar. I was afraid of those fellas. But anyway, I came. One of my songs was I, Dominique. It started with As a Lancers, and then Gordon said, well, why don't you sing that in cadence? And all I had to say was, okay. And they played, and I sang, and the thing just took off. It took off first in Guadeloupe, then in Martinique. Guadeloupe and Martinique had their problems because it was a lady coming to sing, and that wasn't well viewed. So, but when I came with Gordon Henderson, whom they respected, and I came with a husband, they said, okay, give her a chance.
Okay, let's just take a pause. You did the recording.
Yes.
Now you're going to promote the recording.
Right.
And then there were challenges from the beginning.
Oh, yes.
Because during those days, it was not a feminine thing to be singing.
At all.
How was it viewed then?
It was viewed as if you were looking for things. And when you come on stage, and well, I used to always dress like a nun because I even wanted to be one. But you know, I dance my little dance, not any big thing up to now. I'm not a dancer.
Except when you were Punkanel.
Punkanel did the dancing. You know, but so I appreciate dance when it's beautiful and when it's well executed. It's just that, well, I guess the prude in me prevented me from shaking my hips and my waist in the way that people do nowadays. And I'll never do that. Maybe at home, but nowhere else. And I think I had a voice to sell and a message to sell. So I didn't need to wind up myself in front of stage. So I did what I had in my head and what I had in my body, because Temple of the Holy Spirit means something. It doesn't mean that your hand doesn't go where it shouldn't go, but you have to know to pull it back when you have to. So all of that has been working. And then I had to have respect for the man who is my manager. He worked for me, but I worked for him too, you know. So we moved as a team. And you see that Gordon Henderson, he is fantastic. I will never stop calling him my big brother, because if he did not take that chance with his money and with his time on giving me a step up, I don't think I'd ever be where I am now. So Gordon, thanks. Wherever you are, somebody will probably tell you I said that again. It's the same story, but if it wasn't that, I would tell Mark, let's forget about that. All I wanted to do was sing my little song with folk nativity, with little things, you know, and do my teaching, because Mommy wanted me to be a doctor, but I was afraid of blood. I know I had the brain, but I wanted to be a lawyer.
But it is important to note that also, Ophelia, that Gordon himself had found a niche, a name in Guadeloupe since with Viking.
Yes.
So by the time he established Exile One, you know, that kind of piloted his status.
Precisely.
So he now introducing you was an advantage.
Yes. To him too, you know, because people liked that. And well, and he had good people around him who, even if they told him, well, watch it and what have you, they had his back, so to speak. And because of that, they had mine too. You know, and because of him, I got a whole set of attention that I used to my advantage. Nobody would tell me not to. You know, I performed with Viking.
You performed with Viking?
Yes, they were my tour band.
Oh.
Yeah, and people seem to forget that I did that. I did that. It is true.
Who were in Viking at the time? Guy Jacquet,
who came for the Mama Creole show.
Yeah.
He was on stage. There was Pierre-Edouard Decimus.
And let's tell them who is
Pierre-Edouard,
Decimus, who would eventually be one of the actually creators of Zouk music with
Yes,
Fassal.
precisely. And he picked up the energy from Cadence Lipso with Viking. Because when he saw what was happening and what have you, and girls, other girls too, apart from me, started coming out and singing, including Jocelyn Beroy, Tanya Seval, there's Levis, Meliano, and others who, some of them were just there, quiet, doing their little funky music, yes. Jocelyn likes funk. And there was also Sylvanis Pepin, who used to do folk songs. But I came with Ophelia songs. I came singing about Dominica and Magnificat, not being afraid to praise my God everywhere and what have you. So they got a certain self-confidence. And they said, some of them, in fact, people tell me that Cecil has stories about people who said that when they saw me perform, they decided, well, they can do it too. You know, and that is what exposing your work does. It encourages other people and it helps them to put out what they had to put out. But you were talking about Gordon having received all those accolades and what have you. Gordon wrote for my second album. Chanson d'Amour was the title of the second album.
We're not going there yet, Ophelia. We are not. I
didn't know we have time. I don't know
we
have time.
We have time. We're not going there yet.
Okay.
But then we just want to remind our listeners of panel discussion part 2 taking place this coming Friday.
The Cadence Lipsa Month celebrations continue. July 2021, Cadence Lipsa Month. Creole Heartbeat in collaboration of TBS Radio, UWI Open Campus alias Frances, and Going Global Entertainment present Panel Discussion Part 2 at the alias Frances de la Dominique on Emsel Road on Friday, July 16 from 8 p.m. Topics to be explored: dissecting Cadence Lipsa songwriting, Gregory Roberts. How instrumental was TBS Radio to Cadence Lipsa? Team Duo. How did Cadence Lipso influence soca, zouk, and other genres? Ian Jackson. The impact of Cadence Lipso on the Haitian population. The experience of discovering Dominican music in Haiti. Presenter Haitian academic Awi Ferrer. Moderator Dear Coffee. Guest appearances by Lobster, Delma Daniel, Janet Azus, Shamika, Lady S, King JD, Kelso P. Partners include Digicel, Fightful Signal, Signman, Multi Solutions Inc., DNO, NCCU, CDA, DFC Courts, ACS, K&M Enterprise, Minimat, Altitude Construction, Val Ferry, Atlantic View Hotel, Radio Abamago, All Street Adocity Radio, Cadence Lipsa Month, July 2021, Cadence Pelame.
We are in with Mama Creole, the Cadence Queen Ophelia. After that first album, you did any concerts following that particular album?
Okay, yeah, now I'm hearing me again. Yes, in fact, when the record came on scene, I think it may have been September, October of 1978, people started asking people in Guadeloupe, because they like that. An artist is a big thing for people in Martinique, Guadeloupe, Cayenne, France. So they started asking to see that lady sing. So they started asking, Gordon, why don't you bring that lady to do some shows and what have you? And my first show was on 4th of February. First outside Dominica, eh? If you remind me again, I'll tell you about the first one. And I went to Centre des Arts, and I was accompanied by Viking de la Guadeloupe. And my first song was La 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 La. And that was by Miriam Makeba, I shall sing. It was because Miriam Makeba was and is still my model. She was a lady who loved her country and she was exiled because she had spoken against government and against apartheid and all of that in her country. And so she had to be singing, traveling elsewhere and doing her work elsewhere. Well, I didn't have that misfortune, because I can still come to Dominica, walk barefoot, and nobody will bother me except to give me a pair of shoes, you know, that kind of way. So, but
the experience of that first concert. This is important for us to know. You were backed up then by Vikings.
Yes, I had a green dress on with some gold at the front that my cousin Monique Sengole gave to me. She lives in Guadeloupe, although her mother was Daddy's sister. And when I went on stage and they started playing, I didn't know how to do show, but I was a teacher. I used to be a teacher, and I wanted to talk to the people, the audience, through my music and let them talk back to me. And WADIX, the first song, people started screaming and singing with me. And then I was okay. I gave them the rest.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that was when what year you said?
It was 79.
1979.
Yes.
And from then on, you went on to record your second album.
Yes. And that was in itself something very exciting. I'm on the radio, the person calling. I heard Poopa God. Yes. And the second album was Chanson d'Amour, a very simple song. And that is the thing about those people. They don't mind a simple song that speaks to a moment, either a moment with me or a moment in their lives. So I learned that early, so I'm not going to go behind the big words, because I know I'm not that kind of writer. I Dominic Milka play with Zeuka Kule, Cheuka Washe. I stay within on my lane, in my lane, like the younger people would tell you. And Chanson d'Amour was another song that just took off. And at that time, we were doing LPs, but one song used to sell the LP. Yeah. And an LP would have 12, sometimes 15 songs and what have you. But that one song would be bought. Or the LP would be bought for that one song. And the Radio Libre, I have to mention them. These are the free radios that emanated everywhere around Guadeloupe and Martin. Just picked up those things. And then they used to interview me. Now, in those times, RFO, which was the national radio, accepted you only if you spoke French. Oh. But I used to teach French, so I had something.
Right.
Yes, I used to talk it like a Dominican with a certain accent, but at least I could express myself. So I got a lot of opportunities to speak. And not to speak only about my music, but about my country. Is it true that independence has made Dominica poor? Are our people lazy? Do all of them wear locks and they don't talk, or they don't work, or they like to fight? I had to defend Dominica with a rage, because I used to find that they knew a whole set of things, according to them, about Dominica. But then I started saying, well, come to Dominica and see. And I was the first one of the first tourism person to invite people to come and spend a weekend, spend 2 weeks and what have you, without knowing that I was a tourism officer. You know what I mean? Because I was talking from my heart, from my soul. I was expressing the things that go in my life, that exists. I remember when Gordon said, well, okay, we went to Martinique, and then crowds, people are telling me, ladies are telling me, but why is it that every show you have, my husband wants to come? I tell them, well, as long as he brings you, you should be all right. Yes, yes. And then there are people who tell me on my songs like Olamuwe, there are families that reunited, reconciled, because in the song it says, come back. Don't stay outside there. Come back and let us ménage. Let us redo our family. And when a song that you write just like that in jest can bring people together, what else do you want? Chanson d'Amour speaks about all the revolutionary songs and people striking left and right and fighting, blocking roads and what have you. Can we just sing about no chanson cochon, which is pornographic or songs, double entendre songs, no revolution songs, just l'amour, 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 because that is what we need to soothe our life, to tighten up our relations and to have positivity and growth. And people told me that those words spoke to them more than I realized that they would. And that is what, to me, a performer has to be. You entertain, yes, but your words have to carry some kind of weight for your people.
Being married at the time helped.
Oh, considerably.
As a woman, they saw you with a level of respectability.
Yes.
And there was a level of expectation also.
Oh, yes.
As a married woman performing
yes.
At the front. Tell us about that experience.
Well, Mac Marie was always there, and we had our signs.
And continue to always
oh,
be there.
yes, oh, yes. We had our signs because, you know, some people would say how they didn't get paid and what have you. Well, my second song would not go down unless Mac tell me things are okay.
Yes.
You know,
this
and
was
then.
Important.
Oh, yes. And then the security. Because people wrote me threatening letters telling me, why don't I stay in my country? Why do I always have to come and take Guadalupe and Martinique and money to bring to my home? I got letters.
Why do you think they wrote you these letters?
Well, for one thing, I drew a certain attention that maybe they were jealous of. Secondly, for them, Dominica was poor, and every Dominican who went over there was coming to fight for their money, not ours now. Because if I worked and I get money, it's my money. But no, they're seeing it as their francs that I was taking to bring to Dominica.
So in other words, prior to actually the Cadence Lips era, Dominica had a particular image out there that Cadence Lips assisted to actually smoothen, send the love across.
Oh, yes.
And then even you then and you know, Gordon and then later Jeff and those guys would invite the friends to come over to Dominica to see our space.
Yes, and if you remember WADIX for Mama Creole, they were there.
Yes.
They came from Martinique and from Guadeloupe, you know, and they spoke about not just me, but the organization of the show. They spoke about Dominica being able to do that very well. They speak about our World Creole Music Festival, our Creole, the way we walk in line and we go inside. We don't realize what we have. That's why we keep quasi in our country and saying bad things about our country. And we don't big up the positive. We have to wait for somebody from outside to come and do it.
How important it was for you, Ophelia, to carry that message in the midst of the polemic and the conception or perception of Dominica then. You knew that Dominica was contrary to what the image out there was.
Yes.
But bold enough, married, you went there, you performed, and you carried that strong message that Dominica is not what they were thinking of, but something a different place.
Yes.
Tranquility, love, understanding, a very beautiful country.
Well, it was so very important to me. I was born in Curacao, and when I went to school there, they taught me about Queen Juliana and the Dutch. We were Dutch. And they gave me a flag, and I had to wave that flag when it's her birthday and there's a parade, a motorcade in the street and what have you. When I came to Dominica at age 9, I transferred all of that emotion, excitement, indoctrination to Dominica. In fact, I had Dominica on my back. I used to fight as if it's my baby, you know. You know, that is what Dominica was and still is to a great extent for me. That changed though, because look, I even forget the date, 94, I got sick.
Yeah.
Almost died. There was a whole story about all of that.
Can we just, you know, even if it's pricey, I would want to go into that. Because I lived that period.
Yes,
I lived that period. And the rumors all over were very sad.
Yes.
And you actually, you know, you got real small, you know, slim at the time.
Neglect.
What was that experience like?
Well, that experience was really a terrible one. Because I remember a few months before I took sick, Magic Johnson had fallen ill. Well, I don't know, but they found out that he had the HIV virus. And every American was sad over him. And Dominicans who were in America too. The same story was said about me. because I lost weight. They said they saw me at the hospital looking to see who would take care of me. A lot of stories, a lot more stories than the reality. But I did lose weight. I didn't have an appetite. I couldn't sing. My lungs could not move in the way that they should to sustain a show. I couldn't do that. My limbs were hurting me. My joints were hurting me. And well, I think, well...
Okay, Ophelia, just
yes.
a short break. We have
Yes.
some breaking news from King Curtis Matthew. King Curtis Matthew, good morning to you.
Hey, Leroy WADIX Charles, good morning to you. Good morning to your many listeners around the world.
We are with the Queen. We have the Curtis Lipso Queen and Mama Creole, Ophelia.
Right. This is my lady, a very nice lady, Ophelia. Good day to you. But I just want to bring you some news from the High Court. You've heard the name Mehul Choksi, the Indian fugitive who arrived in Dominica on May 23, arrested and charged for illegal entry. He has been a patient at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital over the last month or so. The High Court has ruled just a few minutes ago that Mehul Choksi should be granted bail in the sum of $10,000, and he should be traveling to Antigua any day now for medical attention. That matter has been in the courts for the last month and a half, but the High Court having agreed that he should now travel to Antigua for medical attention because the services he deserves, the services he needs are not available in Dominica, and as a result, they've agreed, both sides consenting that he should now travel to Antigua and Barbuda for medical attention. He has a court matter here for illegal entry into Dominica on May 23. That matter is still to be heard. The court saying that he should return to Dominica after his matter ends in Antigua, after having consulted with the doctor. He should return to Dominica. But the breaking news is that Mehul Choksi, the Indian fugitive who has been at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital over the last month, has now been granted bail by the High Court to travel to Antigua and Barbuda for medical attention. Back to you now, Leroy WADIX Charles, Studio One.
Just before you leave, what was the mood like around the courts this morning?
WADIX, certainly it was not expected at all. We knew that matter was coming to court. In fact, the lawyers for Choksi, around 7 lawyers, including a senior counsel from Trinidad and Tobago, they were going to make the application for bail this morning and for judicial review to begin. So that really, we went to court feeling that is the matter that was going to be debated in court and argued in court for the day. But the breaking news is the judge, having spoken to the lawyers from both sides and considering his medical situation at the moment, she decides that she has to grant Mehul Choksi bail to travel to Antigua between today and tomorrow. He has to pay $10,000 today to secure his return back to Dominica, where his case for illegal entry is to be heard.
Okay, I guess we'll have more stories on more in-depth information on the 13-15 Total News.
Yes, certainly, Leroy WADIX. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, King Curtis Matthew. That's breaking news out of the courts this morning. The Choksi matter have been really dominating news all over the Caribbean and even globally. And we just heard he was granted bail in the sum of $10,000. So let's go back to La Guadam de la Chance. We get back to the culture. We get back to Creole Heartbeat.
Yes.
And where were we, Ophelia?
We were talking about Magic Johnson having been told that
HIV,
he had that he was HIV positive, and people were in tears for him. People prayed for him, cried for him, and what have you.
Yes.
Then it became Ophelia's turn, and as I mentioned, I had pain in my joints. All of my joints were hurting. I had it started off with like 2 weeks of fever every night, but in the day I was okay. And then I had lost my appetite. My lungs didn't have the power that they have now. For example, I had to rebuild that and what have you. And I went to 5 doctors, and I got medication to the best of their abilities, but I wasn't getting better. So Mac Marie, the gentleman and the protector that he is, asked the doctor, can I take her to Martinique and see if you get not a second opinion? By then it would have been a 6th or 7th opinion. And we went over there, and on the virtue of my name, I was taken into the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did tests for like 5 days, and all of the tests, including the AIDS the people had given me there. But everything, hepatitis, gout, cancer, everything, they tested me. And at the end, they found out I had rheumatoid polyarthritis, which is an autoimmune disease, and which can affect all the systems of your body. Well, my sister was a midwife, Rita Olivaci, and she asked Mark whether I could come to Point Michel to stay with the family I came out of, my mother, my father, and them, so that she could look over me and, you know, they could help me come up and what have you. Boy, WADIX rumors. Mark Marie had put me out. He had taken my money. I was supposed to have men all about the place, including Australia that I haven't been to, St. Lucia, States, Paris. I mean, I got everything. I got everything.
And you were actually hearing these rumors every day?
No, my family used to keep that away from me. People would call Mark and ask whether they could speak to me, and he would say, well, she's not here, but can I tell her that you called? Who are you? Never mind, put down the phone, pick it up again. They will pick it up, call him and tell him, oh, after you give her AIDS, you don't want to tell us where she is? I mean, but I only heard all of the stories afterwards. My sister Claudette, who used to work at the Barclays Bank at the time, First Caribbean now, used to get them. How is your sister today? She take her test already? They would attack my friends. You sure you don't have it? Especially man's, and I have plenty man's friends. You know, so you're going to see.
And this happened with our people here.
With our people here. And then my hotel started suffering. Nobody want to come by the lady that have AIDS. They would buy away the people. In fact, I know who did what, you know. Some of them. They would stop the people at the port and tell them, you shouldn't go there, you know, because Ophelia has AIDS. I can bring you somewhere else. You know? Wow. And there was a lady who came, and my husband happened to be at the port waiting on some people who had to come. And there was a lady who was talking to a taxi driver who is now deceased, and told him, you don't hear now what happened to Lady of Song. She have the thing, you know, she have the virus. And the fella is saying, but where you get that done? He trying to point at Mark, who is near there, to say hush your mouth, but she doesn't know Mark, and she doesn't know who Mark is. So she's continuing with her story, and he's saying, where you get that thing you saying? They're not trying to tell her, shut up, man, that story. And so and she is saying, well, her husband cousin who lives in Newtown that tell me that Mark doesn't know that he has a cousin in Newtown. And then the guy tells her, well, that is Ophelia's husband, eh? And Mark saw her and he said, you know, she could have, if the world could have opened and swallowed her, she would have been happy. You know, that kind of thing. People would say that they go to see me in hospital. I never got to hospital because I had a nurse, a qualified nurse midwife who took care of me at home. Mark used to come and visit me every day like a girlfriend. He used to bring apples and he used to bring chocolates. He used to bring what I liked for me. And we would talk. And that story he had to tell me. You know what I told him? You should have given her a cough in her mouth.
But then was that, I mean, your most depressing moment of your life?
I think so. But it's also the moment that helped me grow spiritually. I think I had visions, positive visions, and my sister Claudette remembers one where I was talking to Jesus and I'm telling him, I know you're the one who placed me here and you want me to think about my status in life and what you would like me to do with the rest of my life, because I didn't know what to do. And you know, I remember saying, so you mean if I had AIDS, is so my people would treat me? So I know exactly how an AIDS patient feels, the AIDS patient whose story is out, because I had friends who would say, but how comes it's only she or you know she that have AIDS? What about the others? You all don't know? And there's another friend who's very vocal who told them, well, if Ophelia has AIDS, that's the AIDS kind of AIDS that Jesus can cure. And by the way, Jesus can cure AIDS, eh?
Yes, but in all
But
of
it was
that,
sad.
in all of that, I mean, real sadness and were there friends of your, or people you perceive to be your friends
Oh,
who were
yes.
out there, you know, propagating that sort of rumor?
No, you know.
Your
Because all
friends
my
remain your
friends,
friends.
yes,
They remain
all
your
my
friends.
friends. There's one who kind of shifted away. In fact, two. But that particular one seemed to have felt that maybe because she listened, she was wrong. But I called her back in. I say, hey, you are my friend.
How would that help you and your music beyond that period?
Oh, tremendously. I remember Raymond Lawrence organized what I consider the first Canas Music Festival. People forget
Yes,
that, but he
yes.
did it. WADIX, I know you'd remember.
Yes,
It was at Arawak,
Yeah.
and I had to sing. I was still slim.
And that was your first performance after
First
this
performance
ordeal.
outside, and I came with new songs. One of them was Chif Asikote, Kite Mwen Chante. And I was telling people, don't knock me. Give me a chance to do God's work. You know, I mean, it's not a song that people know, but I still remember Chif Asikote, Kite Mwen Chante. Ta na 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 na, fais-toi vaille bon Dieu. I forget the words. I must go back behind it. Because I have a whole set of songs that people don't know. Even those I have. And then Magnificat became a bigger song. And then I used to sing Amazing Grace in cadence. You know, and all those things. People told me when I sang Magnificat in that hall, then they shivered in a positive way. So, I mean, the Lord has put his hand on me, you know. I'm not telling you I'm perfect, but I have to do his work. So, you know, when you hear people talk and say, you know, if you touch them, you touch God. Watch it, because he has his children. But when you know, and he created all of us. But when he has taken you through the furnace and done some things in your life, everything you do has to be for his glory, you know. And people sometimes don't understand, or we like to create stories. I mean, but we have to watch what we're saying about who, because we never know who is God's child. And if you look through the Bible, it's those that we think were bad that he worked through, eh?
Absolutely.
Yes, so
in terms of your music now,
yes,
out of, let's say, the Guadeloupe, Martinique,
yes,
Dominica realm.
Oh, well, it went further. I have songs throughout the Caribbean, except in Cuba, and I have to do that one day. I have sung to in Europe, everywhere, like Germany, France, London, England, of course, Spain. My music is known, if you like, better than me, because my music has gone through Africa. All the Franco Africa knows my music, and I know because I get droit d'auteur from there. I get author's rights from there, so I know that my music is over there. I'm trying to think of an odd place that I haven't been, or that I have been, that people don't know, but I can't think of anything. I just let the Lord do it.
Yeah, your work, based on what you have been saying, is divine.
In Jesus' name.
Yes, in Jesus' name. If you were to name one, or possibly two, which moment, we talk about the sad, but the most triumphant moment, when you felt that, man, I am at my pinnacle, I am at, you know, what the work that I'm doing, I'm really feeling excited about it. What time or what concert or what period would you name this?
There are thousands of them, but let me try to pick one. One of them is when I received the Maracas Door Award.
Tell us the experience about that.
Yeah. You're bringing me back to some places, WADIX. I remember the Chanson d'Amour album had gone out, and people were more excited by it than even the I Dominique one. And there's a Théâtre Noir in Guadeloupe, in Paris, that was interested in having me go up there. And somebody from Belgium dealt with the Théâtre Noir, which is really Afro-based, African Caribbean based. and they decided to let me come up and do some songs. At the same time, I was getting the Maracas Door Award, which is really the first one I got. First award. And it had to be outside Dominica. But anyway, I'm okay with that now. And then I had to, and then they put out their information and what have you. No, I'm talking about the wrong time. But anyway, that time was remarkable because the place was plein à craquer, like they say in French, and people were wondering if I would have performed in that place because they felt it was too small. But I did it fine. And then I had to go back for the Maracas Door Award, and they had 8 shows lined up for me. And WADIX, before I put anything in the suitcase here for me to go, every show was sold out.
Sold out, wow.
And I went there and I was frightened because I do get that. That's why I need my God. I tell him, let's go with me. You know, and V King were with me again.
Yeah.
And when I went and I sang the first, I don't remember which song was the first. Immigration. One of the hit songs was the first. Anyhow, I like to say, hi, this is me, Bim. And I learned that from the first show. They say, oh, you sang Miriam Makeba, but you should have sang you. So I learned that. I sing me first, and then I sing the others. And people were not sitting. The place was full of Antillais, from Martinique, Guadeloupe, maybe Dominica, and everywhere else, and their friends too, who had a different color, but they were there. And when the black people stood and started to dance, everybody else stood, and they danced for the whole time. I used to talk in French to them and tell them, bonsoir, comment allez-vous? And they would tell me, parlez créole. You know, and that first show, I mean, I was on a high. I had to again pray to be lodged into the place that I should be. And, you know, the Most High has been with me, and he continues to be with me. And I know I'll get the blows, but Jesus get blows.
Absolutely. How important was the Creole language in exporting your music to these places, the language itself?
Paramount. Paramount. Because your roots, the people who buttress you, are from you. And they send it back to you. Ophelia, oh, Bell, I don't need anything else. I get that, so I know somebody is understanding my words. And then I allow the music to do the rest. Or it might be the other way around. Let the music catch them, and then I give them the words. But the French, I mean, they ask you for the Creole, so what you going to do? Talk French alone then? No, you have to talk some English. I speak English. I say, good night to you. Is everybody all right? And they answer me in English.
Absolutely.
So you have really a cosmopolitan kind of concert hall every night. And I mean, I used to go and sleep till 10:30, 11 o'clock. And when I wake up, I have breakfast and I go back and sleep. And I was the fortunate one that used to be housed in reasonable places. Let me just be.
Woman.
Yes, the woman thing. I like to say the lady thing.
The lady thing. And then Mark would make sure.
Of course. I mean, I just had to tell Mark, look, there's somebody who is talking a little loud on the stage or backstage, and that's it. He'll just go and deal with it. I don't even know what he did, but I know it worked. And I really have to thank him. I'm very grateful to him and to God, because this is really special, and I'm talking about it now, and I'm seeing it in a different light, because it was a step at a time that time, and then, you know, now I have to go back and remember the steps. But I can see his hand, God's hand, in everything, the good and the bad, or the perceived bad, you know, and it takes you to where you have to be.
Let's come to Dominica. You were recognized out of Dominica, then performed at this several concerts out there.
Yes.
The name was huge out there. Coming back to Dominica, what was the experience like?
Oh, well, I was Ophelia, the other girl over there, the girl from Point Michel, the girl who could walk without her shoes, and the girl who could wear her shorts and would still be all right, which is fine. I can still do that. What I like about Dominica is the role of the Cultural Division and the National Cultural Council. They came to the realization that I am Dominican and I'm not going anywhere. And I can still walk into Arawak and people make space for me at the door. They're sometimes surprised that I bought a ticket, but I figure I have to because I have to support the arts. Yes. And well, now with Mama Creole, I in fact, even this morning, WADIX, I had to breathe in and breathe out because somebody was telling me they heard about something else I have to do tonight. I said, tonight? But I don't know. I know I have to, you know, and that's the kind of thing that's happening. And in Dominica, I have been recognized, especially when they picked up what the Guadeloupe and Martinique people were saying, La Grande Dame de la Chanson Antillaise, and they make it First Lady of Song, Dominica's Lady of Song, and what have you. My voice is better known than my face, especially nowadays. I go to ministries, I go to offices, and I ask for things, and when they hear my voice, they look at me and they say, I know that voice, and that sort of thing. And then I get a certain smile and a certain customer relation that I am proud of. I would like to see that happen to everybody, but I have to say it happens for me. It happens.
Cadas Lipso, to a certain extent, has made you who you are.
To a great extent. To a great extent, because people might forget my name, but they remember Lady of Song, and the song is Cadence. And I think most of my hits have been in cadence, even if I've, well, even when I sing Amazing Grace and what have you, and I sing it in cadence, it goes to me further than if I sing it in the other way. So cadence has been and will continue to be one of my buttresses. I cannot deny what cadence is for me and what capabilities it has given me to be who I am now.
We also have, I know I asked you that some time ago, but we can possibly explore it differently. We have the World Creole Music Festival.
Yes. WADIX, you start again?
Well, it's important because it's our festival.
Yes.
It's the World Creole. And
yes.
Cadence Lipso and
Yes.
Bouillon Music are two genres from Dominica.
Yes.
What do you think is the platform available to express Cadence Lipso in those avenues?
Let's say it is available, but it's not being made available. It's not as accessible as it should be. I remember programs. There was one particular year when there was absolutely no cadence on the program, and somebody had to make noise, and then Midnight Groovers was tucked in.
I went for the length and breadth of Dominica. Went to Honorable Pierre Charles on 3 occasions. Once again, like you, was vilified, crucified. But then I think the Monday of Creole in the park. Of Creole in the park. The Brothers of Midnight Groovers then called me because I didn't want us to make that mistake of having a festival and we did not have
any cadence
at all. And then, fortunately for us, Sweet Mickey couldn't make it. And then I think one of the brothers called me and told me they would just call to NDC to
sign up a
sign
contract.
up. So eventually we had cadence that year. But I went to, at the time, newspaper, television, radio, and really, lashed out. It was very hurtful that we were going to make a mistake that we
like
should not,
that.
But then, when we look at the genre and what it has done for Dominica and the respect that we're getting, as a matter of fact, this was one of the main reasons for the Cadence.
Exactly.
What you think we can do more, Ophelia, so that we can the genre can be more respected, accepted, and even you are available. I know Gordon, I spoke to him earlier. Several people are available to nurture. You still consider yourself like the Mama Creole, and I saw it in full effect at the first part of the discussion where you were nurturing the younger. But how much of that we can do from, let's say, the higher level, more forums like what we are having, more discussions. What is your opinion on how we can get this genre, which has brought us so much respectability and has brought us to the four corners of the globe, to be more accepted, and even, inject it into our young people? They can modify it because music evolves.
Yes, and they can experiment with it as long as they recognize where it has come from, and as long as they use it for the betterment of our country and our music in and of itself. It can go anywhere. You know, I'm not sure I have the answer to the question that you're asking me. Now you're trying to get me to be at a spot where I don't like to be. Because I told a friend of mine recently, I hide a lot of things. And some of it has to do with my thought processes and the things I would like to see happen. I would like people who are in position or in the place to be able to make a difference, to make the difference. We cannot have reggae being more important than Calypso in a World Creole Music Festival. I have seen flyers where the best spots for performance are given to reggae groups, and the reggae groups know how to insist on those spots. And we who are organizing cannot see that we should have a top Dominican band in that particular spot. That is one. We have to also look at how we are spending our money. We don't have a lot of money. Therefore, we maybe should do it like Grenada. There was a minister from Grenada who came and looked at the World Creole Music Festival. And then he picked up Dominican bands, because those were, and when I say bands, I mean me too. Those who made it interesting for him were the Dominican bands, who were placed first on the program or last. So they are placed on stage when there are hardly anybody there, when there's hardly anybody there, on both ends of the show, early or late. We used to have Jeff Joe at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning starting a set. He was almost a senior citizen. Do we do that, or do we put a Dominican band in the highest, the best position, the best light of the program? I remember when I was placed to sing at 11 o'clock at night, and they were telling me, oh, we put in people like you early so that the others. I say, no problem, that's the best time to perform, 11 o'clock in the night. People who are coming out will be out already. You perform at midnight, you sit down, you take a drink, or if they give you a snack, and you go home. That used to be my MO. I don't know if I'll even be able to do it now. And we cannot put 3 top cadence artists in 1 hour and tell them, fend for themselves. Give that one 20 minutes, give that one 15, and give the other one the rest of it. It doesn't work. Give people the treatment that they deserve. And pay them. Don't wait to pay them or let them have to come on stage and you cannot give them their money. Treat them the same, with the same respect, the same class, the same niceness you give to others. I remember there was a time when I had 3 dancers to perform with me, and they told me I have to pay for them because they don't know them. I had to go to Mr. Gregoire for relief, and I got it. The time when I found out I was doing a panel discussion for the same World Creole Music Festival business, what have you, and I was doing it free of charge, you know, because nobody gets paid for talking in Dominica. I don't know. Well, some people maybe do, but I haven't reached here yet, you know. And so I had to go and talk and say, look, I need those 3 people. At that time, CASAV was coming in with 35 people. All of them were housed, all were fed, all were transported. We have to know how we're treating our people. And we have to give them the best treatment so that they themselves can want to work hard to be able to give the best show every time.
Okay, we want to thank you, Mara, for giving us an extra couple of minutes because we had the special update by Curtis Matthew.
Okay.
But then finally, women or ladies in music in Dominica, like as the Mama Creole.
Yes.
If you would have to advise them as to the way forward, I know you saw a few last week, Friday.
Yes.
But in terms of reaching to their full potential out there, what are some of the advices you would give to them to get to that level of maturity where they can possibly earn enough to be self-sufficient in music?
Okay, unfortunately I had to go away to do that. But that is okay too. You go with DA, so you go. You have to learn music, which I didn't do. I have a good ear, but and I learned music up to grade 4 theory, which is not good enough. We have to learn. Secondly, we have to understand that business of music, because it's a business. And it's a hard business because it hits ladies harder. There are certain things I find that would happen to a lady that would never happen to a man, or it would be seen differently. And maybe it's a good place to say that you need management. You have to understand that management works for you, but you also have to be able to say something to management. And I live with my management, but I never quarrel with management outside home. You have to choose your places where you quarrel, because music is also perception. People see you on or off stage and they make a perception of you. You have to know what you want to do. Are you going to come out like a cursing female, like a crazy head, a loud cow, somebody who has no scruples? Do you want to come out like that? If you go and you wind up on stage, when you come down this stage, are you going to tell a person to wind up on you? You know, you have to, it's a whole psyche. It's something that's in your head, and it goes down to the rest of your body. So your image has to be something you have to pay attention to. And know that off stage, on stage, and when I say on stage, I mean backstage and front stage, you have to remain you. So you have to find you. You have to know you, and you have to nurture you. The kinds of songs that you sing, you have to, especially if you're doing a whole show, you have to know what is good at the beginning, what in the middle, what at the end. There are times when I've had to drop songs because I realize, oh, the show is going a little slow here, a little too slow, so forget that, let's go to song number 5 instead. You know, that kind of thing. Or put 5 down to 10 and what have you. So it's really a whole science. It's not an easy thing. But if you start with, I don't even want to say a good-looking face, because all our Dominicans are good-looking. All. You know, and it's God make them, and he doesn't make junk. So you have to build on what you have. That's what I'm trying to say. And remain true to yourself. Don't be afraid to pray. And you can tell God, I'm sorry. He hears and he gives you another chance. Ask him for guidance, because I do that. I do that up to now. That's why WADIX, I can't even tell you yet when I want to perform. But you'll get it before I leave here today. You know, so, and don't feel that you are it. Rihanna makes whacks of money. Whitney Houston made whacks of money, but not for themselves. You have a team, and everybody's supposed to eat from what you are doing, because you have one role, but there are so many other people. A lawyer, by the way, is an important person in your team as well. And if you are just budding and what have you, then we could have more sessions and workshops on music, the business of music, what a lawyer can do for you, what a manager should do, the role of this and that and what have you. But we're not doing that. And we need to do it. I just need to say that, and keep your Dominicanness and your ladiness as being first. Don't forget who created you, and go with him first.
I want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you,
for being
Alex.
who you are, and I always say you're truly one of the gems beyond compare, parallel to several of our natural attributes, the boiling lake, the Emerald Pool. I really want to thank you for the work that you've done for Dominica.
Thanks.
And happy Cada Slips a month.
The same to you, WADIX, and keep on keeping on.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
This has been another Creole Heartbeat program. Queen Kimara Ito comes up next on DBS Radio until Wednesday. I'm Prince WADIX. May God bless you.
The Kadasa Lipsa Month celebrations continue. July 2021, Kadasa Lipsa Month. Creole Heartbeat in collaboration of DBS Radio.